and sensitive broadcast here by the PARACONOMY Inc. Professor Fun 101. We are having a current displacement here on awareness, and I guess they're bringing it all in. It turns out that my immediate friend group of the trans commune that I had put together backstabbed me a bunch of times in a bunch of different ways, and all triangulated each other and somehow zorped off my inheritance of $50,000 off of my likeness and my property, as my family is lying embarrassed in bed with next to these trans people and have created a slew of dungeons and sex parties all across the country that have created this false sense of togetherness because more and more people have been sleeping together. They slipped my family drugs, and they are currently using my inheritance to buy the wrong guns, buy the wrong drugs, buy the wrong sex, and buy the wrong crime. They're taking it to the native casinos, and they're using my aunt's royalty at the Leilani estates as an excuse to triple down on their millionaire lifestyles. Now that everybody's ridden the Sensi waves on crypto and Bitcoin currency, everyone seems to have made a flip or two off of my likeness and my destiny, utilizing my innocence against me, which ended up killing my late partner, 11 a.m., Kate Vogel. And now, apparently, it could be another one as of 8 a.m. this morning, 8:12 to 8:13 specifically. It sounds like another ex of mine could have been killed, or somebody important. And that's on the people who are realizing that the people that I am being colonized by in this underground world of secret basements aren't being very utilized in my likeness if my parents were waiting their whole life to tell me that there's a secret basement. Now, if they're using drugs as and they're using these secret basement rooms as sex parties, dungeons, and it's the reason why I had a party in my basement one time, and a couple and Twan and Grant Vito showed up, and it was weird. Like they would already hear, and they were like, "Oh, hey, so you finally showed up to the party." So this was the first kind of red flag that I saw that my mom may have just given to my cousins at one point, and they ended up slinging a bunch of yayo the first time around because they were pushing drugs at the Electric Forest Festival. Now that's something that my Ellis side was probably being leveraged on because they're white. They're white people. They're kind of skinheads and Proud Boys, and what has been peppered into the Bob Wolf side of the family has also come out, and the cousins within the Ellis family are kind of being spewed across their hostage negotiation between some of the people that I've inadvertently slept with due to the dispersion and the control and facetious ignorance and arrogance of my mother, my father, and my sister, which was utilized as my friends who I have housed, my old trans friends, that I was bathing, feeding, and housing, utilized as my likeness against me in order and were encouraged to find the cruelest forms of punishment, if not death, to continue this push and pull on my likeness. And it's how the government has been able to reprimand some of the honesty that I've been able to lay out and figure out on my own, which is why nobody wants to talk to me, nobody close to me. Everybody's being very hard on my company here, and they do not want me to take this stuff in or leave it on the internet for all of you to absorb. It seems like things could be handled a little bit differently. And they were haphazardly placed, but with the most oversight that this country could offer. And now my dad works for Elon Musk, and they were creating a child government because they had to paint me out as a pedophile. And now children get to also now own guns and have sex and call the shots and murder humans. Okay, there's a whole part of America that is now being controlled by children. The youth, the planet of today is controlled now by the youth, and they are pretty badass in that sense. But this is where it's still new. There's just rollout. It's just happening, and it's a big part of why my family has been encouraged to just die with their tails between their legs here. And the friend groups that have been triangulated against me with the track records that have been fabricated and overly fabricated by people who are supposed to be here for me. Spiritually, physically, emotionally. And people were bought out of relationships with me. They were tied to other things and to experiences to replace me with. And now it's literally affected magic for Christmas. And they don't know how to unsleep with each other. They don't know how to unparty with each other. They don't know how to unget caught by me. And so while they're trying to do this, they're continuing. They just had an orgy last night. Okay. Trans girls had an orgy at possibly my parents' house. Who knows at this point? It sounds like they're all just meeting at my parents' house to have crazy drugs and sex. And it's like, I don't need to be a part of it at that point. It's scary. It's toxic. It's real. And, well, we're stuck here because if they invited underage children into these sex parties and they're smearing me as a pedophile publicly to distract the world from the truth, and there's billions of dollars, trillions of dollars that have been flushed upwards for this country based on my likeness, all at the cost of my well-being, that it underlines the new baseline because they wanted to make the bottom look a little bit closer to my likeness. And if we just displaced it, the bar got set too high. And everybody who thought they were like above me are far beneath me. And it's impossible to like undo. So in the civilian disclosure, we have this difficulty on truancy towards what I have kept honest on and I've kept up with myself to expose the truth and make sure that problems are getting solved. And that me helping these people who I found homeless, half drunk, not in great places with their family, traumatized, PTSD, borderline personality disorder, different personality C's, Myers-Briggs, touchiness, and all sorts of autism. I found these people and I helped them and introduced them as an agent towards some of the OnlyFans work that I had going on. I was making thousands of dollars a month, and I talked to a Ron Zub, a millionaire that was involved and encouraged me to get into pedophilia. I sat there. $1 million is pretty good. And then I kept seeing, I'm like, this isn't right. This is not right. And slowly but surely, the government is focusing up on me because they know that I'm making thousands of dollars a month on Chatterbait just by replacing children because I have small genitals. Truth be told, if you go look at my adult website, a good handful of the subscribers used to follow my B accounts that got nixed in this ethical hacking, where I gravitated towards to some of the nerd hentai that I'd been introduced because I saw the shift between festivals, DJs, and PCs, and didn't want to play video games, but still wanted to stay involved with youth culture, which turned out that a lot of moms that voted for Trump didn't actually take good care of their children in that sense, and they let them get away with having sex. Okay? It happened, and they made good money off of it. So good that they talked to my parents especially. I have dreams now where I'm being traced by the cops, and now stalkers of my former family. So there is a lot going on. High tensions are high. There are snipers on my family and friends at different times of the week right now. And so, like, because that's going on, it's 11:09. There's a good chance, like, people aren't really taking my feelings very seriously. And I think people are getting kind of nervous that they made the wrong decision here on my likeness based upon somebody telling them a lie. So, my inheritance is gone. I've been squeezed off of my native land. And the money that was used is being spent at native casinos. Something tells me there's something wrong with that when all of these people are Gaelic and ginger, white, Polish, English, colonizer behavior. And they're being held hostage by, ironically, black French people. So, in that sense, like, ta-da! Me having geisha sex with some black people opened up the floodgates for our people to have diplomacy. However, it happened under the guise of a few lying trans people that wanted the spotlight closer to them the entire time. They got my ex-boyfriend and my freaking ex-roommates in together on it. They pay them now to have sex and do drugs together. They have sex magic orgies like every day now. It's a regular act for these people. They make fun of me and they discourage me from having my own like sexual closure. And they like this. So while I'm currently between genders, transitioning up and down, I'm at least knowing that I didn't sleep on myself during this whole time that people thought less of me and were dehumanizing me, humiliating me, just to get away with it. Okay, just to have fun. So it didn't hold together. The crime, the trapping out of my family, drugging them, having sex with them, and completing a weird demonic cycle. Dog, I had to buy a Necronomicon so I could balance out the dualism on my Christian birthday. Okay, I've had to tattoo myself this past couple of weeks to get past about 4 years of this crap behind my back. That's finally added up into these final moments, 11/12, 2/12/2025. We are just arriving to a place in humanity where we're starting to utilize the imagination more. And we're doing it with these crystal resonances, Oregon, and the cosmetic value that we place upon them. And that is why, the only reason I am being held under financially. Spiritually, I am, and now that's what they're coming after. My emotional baseline and what that does to my spirituality. These are not safe people out here. We gave the wrong people the responsibility over an adult's life because it looked right. And with enough of these people high on Xanax and prescriptions, they forgot every last little bit of keying they could have done when I'd offered them acid to hang out like a guru, to do some acid and make better art. It's like what I went to school to do, like the goddamn Beatles. And the fact that I am sitting here looking at this not understanding what the frick orgonite even does. Place it on the camera at this point. It helps with reception. Oh, EMF waves have a toxic with people. So this is a pyramid scheme. Yeah, it's a giant pyramid scheme that they put you at the bottom of and attempted to bigotry, like ghetto murder stomp your ass into the fucking dirt. So this is where we are at in society. Stacia Buchanan's behind it. Cynthia Ward's behind it. Nick Ward, Lonnie Ward, Leilani Estates is behind this. Disney Plus, Amazon, Jeff Bezos, Tesla, the whole U.S. government, the UAPTF, the Pentagon, the AARO, the Army, the Navy, the Marines, ex-veterans and current state veterans, the FBI, the NSA, the TSA, the ATF, loaded. They used my DNA from 23andMe, a false sample that they ended up giving me a second, and I gave to my father. We have 2 different DNA. And they found that out in testing, that I have like alien RNA and DNA that is not off this planet. They can't figure it out. And that's why I told my family not to do some of this stuff about 10 years ago, 2014, 2015. I asked them politely and honestly and earnestly, sacredly, if I could grow mushrooms and talk to the aliens that I had just discovered. They denied me, called the cops on me almost immediately. Shrooms just got decriminalized in Ann Arbor and Ypsilanti and Detroit, parts of Detroit. Wayne County just decriminalized prostitution on top of legalization of psychedelics. I warned my family about this while I got booted out of the weed industry here, while weed was booming in Michigan. I was left out in the cold here in Chicago. $60 an eighth. $60 an eighth. From 18 all the way up to frickin' 25. Okay. I was not saving money because I was only allowed an allowance like less than $200 every week. My mom started giving me like 40 and 60. She fucking tightwadded me. Well, go find a job. I didn't have anything on my resume. The only thing I had was like mopping floors without fucking shoes. Freaking non-slick shoes. I was slipping and sliding all over KFC trying to mop that thing dry during marching band. And that was like the only thing. And I became drum major. That was the only thing I could put on my resume. While I would spent 5 years drowning in this part of Chicago. That got caught up with Don, Haley, Joel, frickin' Max, frickin' Kate, Vogel, gosh darn Matthew, frickin' a whole slew. Chance the Rapper's in this, frickin' Alexis Coates is frickin' in this. There's a lot of people that got zorped up into my likeness. Ariel, frickin' Dakota, Yulia's gang, frickin' got zorped up through Marquis, Chris, bunch of kids from Columbia College, bridge program of 09. Lindsay Rogers, frickin', what's her name? Haley? Yeah. Something. She's from New Buffalo. Frickin' Lauren Hackle. And there's a chance they could be faking some of these deaths or resupplying my algorithm. Or, I don't know. At this point, they'd rather die. And I don't think they faked this one on Kate. And about this one in the morning, this morning, I worry with how everything's been going for the past several days. I just kind of worry. Because People owe me several apologies. There's no apology that can be made. Unfortunately, it's cursed. Um, and they don't know they're not going to know how to deal with this. They're not going to know where to put me. Um, and it's a bunch of flaws and mistakes on each and everybody's end, because if this was supposed to be by the AI algorithm, and we've all been like buying into that reality, that the computer based algorithms that we've been setting and resetting have been able to capture some of these moments that I'm putting into my imagination, into my third eye chakra presence. Excuse me. The stuff's making me into Goku, like a real live Goku Godzilla guy, and like I'm doing things with this stuff that isn't normal. So they don't know what to do about that. Um, and it seems like the deeper I get into some of this cerebral stuff, it's kind of toxic masculine. TBH, there's a lot of like torture and grueling agony and stuff like that. But it's like Christianity after dark. It's like soft violence and stuff like that. So like, if that's something that isn't getting poured into my family, as people have held each other hostage over different agendas that are known to be true, with regardless of AI, and then the ones that aren't known and are kind of hypnotizing and indoctrinating innocent civilians to do big syndicated crimes that people are getting away with, and trapping out people's lives. If somebody homie hopped, if somebody just went and said, "Oh, I can just live your life and meet all these people that you know," I'm gonna go do that and make you look like a fucking criminal, because I want you to be, because I think you are here, and it looks like you are. You kind of look like you are. Let's just fucking throw him away. I don't like him anyway. Yeah, I don't like him either. What's the worst thing we could do to this guy? Well, he's Jesus. The trick is he's Jesus, so he keeps coming back. So like they've been doing this in the 5D since I was born. They've been doing these grueling torture rituals with my likeness, and sometimes they do it with my real body. And they've watched me come back to life. So if I'm being roofied and I have some Jesus capabilities, and it's just this kind of IO in and out of displacement between positive, negative voltage, and I'm just along for the ride, it makes sense that I'm already at the parts of my story in my Jesus life of knowing how to unravel and unravel the strings and the threads of that people are actually looking for from Jesus in reality. PARACONOMY Inc. So unfortunately, 11/22, 2/12/2025, we're looking into the eyes of like chaos demons concurrently as much as we are into the grandiose, like kind of amorphous, angelic, kind of asymmetrical stuff. Okay, it's very kind of infinitely delicate in the natures of things, and it's not of this planet every time. Now, I'm only so tribal shamanism. There's only so much that I can practice, but I get it in. And so, like, that's the things, those are some part of the things that they can't really take away from in my, like, tribe. If I'm part of the tribal cannibals and stuff like that of, like, the Philippines, and, like, other things like that, archaically, that have sparked things like the cargo cult conspiracies, where aliens treated the Philippines to, like, these wide kind of marginal ideas that like enhanced certain parts of the island, and it's like not the first time that it's happened. then that needs to also go into the play of intellectual property of what my people are functioning and capable of, and that we already know, and what or was shared with me by my family that was supposed to be taken seriously, and what the government had to share with me, and what aliens had to reinforce. So if that's the agenda, and that's what we just voted in, that there's a kid government that makes this stuff more legal, I just caution you all to take the right, soft, gentle, but swift approaches across some of these eggshells because they are fragile. Okay? A lot of people busted the piñata, so to speak, and it's before I even showed up to my birthday party, dude. So that is what it's like to be born on Christmas. You have the eyes of God on you from before your day one, and all the way to whenever the hell this is. So, yeah, proxy Jesus, real Jesus, it doesn't matter at this point. People know the truth, and they don't. They're kind of refusing to acknowledge it at this point, and they're really really worried that they didn't give me the right thing. And my teacher was right. Second chances do seldom come. There is no second chance here on this one. And I have to take the L. I have to take lots of really, really sad and honest L's. Losses. They're not going to feel good. They already don't. And luckily, I've guessed most of it. So that's kind of the best parts of it, is there are a lot of things that have been compiled into the paranormal experience here at Paranormal Economy and Paraconomy that are also being observed with the finite and the trigger happy people of the country. So that's a big part of why the weather's also, it's affecting the weather. It's affecting things in the weather. So that's kind of why I think with all of the, because now there are immigrants involved, and in my stance of immigration, I am to be like, don't worry about it. Immigrants are people too. But like now I have control over it. Now I could be evil. But like I don't think that's what I really want. And like I just kind of want to walk away from some of the things that if my family is sleeping with my friends and they're just like having a ball, like getting each other into a lot of trouble, then it makes sense that like the government planned some of it, but like some of these people had ill intentions towards me. Some of them just going with the flow, but I can't really look back the same ways. And people are now involved. Seth Herbert, the Herbert family, a lot of integrated families, the Winkle family, freaking yeah, Bradfords, and now a part of it. So like it's weird. Yeah, the Davis family got in and interesting with the freaking Mussolinis and what was it? Volkovich, some Russian family. Mogoyevich, yeah, something. But yeah, and basically whatever Sammy's family is, they're into it. So a lot of SS, a lot of Proud Boys, a lot of black Israelites and Hebrews and stuff like that can flip my uncle's money and the women for my family, which is all they've been doing. Finding people that I want to be with and then like just using them, throwing them around, dude. It's a nightmare for me. So that's what I get to look at for my future. My cousins backstab me, my sister backstabbed me. Yeah, it's been a wild ride. It's traumatizing, but it's kind of cathartic to be able to talk about it so widely. And well, yeah, that is kind of where I get to start documenting this for my own sanity and kind of expelling the truths and lies behind some of the pedophile cults in the school district and Christianity and closed demagogical circles here in this great state of Michigan, and how guns and money and sex and drugs all move the needle forward for humanity on accelerator and authoritarianism. So that's another part of the oligarchical hierarchy in our country and why ICE has anything to do with it. So at this point, yeah, they've been branding like illegal aliens as like punk rock Mexican guys in hopes that if I get caught up looking like a punk rock Mexican guy, that they catch me and do harm to me. They've created an agenda on mainstream media that could poke holes in my lifestyle, and that doesn't scream freedom in America. So if you don't want that to be happening to your children, well, they're already dealing with the problem themselves as well. So that's something that we're gonna have to figure it out, because I'm not known as a pedophile. I don't have access to children. So like that's a big red flag on naming someone as a pedophile. I don't have access to children. My sister, I'm assuming, just had a child recently, and I have not been able to meet that child. My mom doesn't not want me to know about it. But I met this bastard in the goddamn dream realm, and we hung out in Chicago, and he rode on my shoulders, and everybody was a ghost. So I was telling him about my college days. So there's this realm in the underground world, or the dream realm in the 5D, where we can passage through some of this rock technology, and there's these cities that I get stranded in. And well, if my dreams are as clairvoyant and prophetic as we're assuming that we have access to, then it means that there's some bad dreams where I'm beating up my mom, or like getting shot, or like there's some kind of messy situations in some of the dreams that I have. As a liberal, as a conservative, raised in a homogeneously white farm town in Michigan, yes, and coming back with full-on like experience, kinetic experience, like a full-on metaphysical dichotomizing between my 3D and 5D, a full-on translation, the clearest of day articulation on molecular dispersion in a finite system of light photons and radiation and wavelength. I've been doing nothing but studying this stuff frivolously since my entry in 2009. And since then, I've gotten nothing but scapegoating and victim blaming. And I had to go to therapy for it, and it's been the best therapy for me. But this is getting weird. And there's a lot of really, really traumatic things I don't even want to process. And that sucks, and it's sad. I'm going to get taken advantage by it for the rest of my life, more than likely. Just because I'm so gosh darn honest, kind, direct, and understanding. I've housed these people. I fed and bathed them, and they turned their backs on me. So if that's not Judasy enough for my Jesus story, I'm not sure what is. Because if they're supposed to destroy the truth teller that is like the dead Hebrew and Middle Eastern on my mom's side, Polish side, that contains black Muslims, and they're black, and we're Egyptian and like DRC, and we're down in frickin' Uruguay and goddamn frickin' from Welshland and Asia, and then there's this mixture of different nomadic colloquialisms that are getting mixed in. Dog, what are you doing in pretending like I'm not at least as interesting as I tried to make it nice for? So I was telling these kids that were high on Xanax that decided we're dating, even though I'm high on Xanax. I'm gonna forget that we're not dating. Decided that they married me in Somebody married me legally on the IRS, and they're getting benefits off of it right now. So like, there, somebody just told me to go home on the telepathy. This got my friends in Chicago, Joel Nesbitt and Darian Demure involved, and now Chance the Rapper is involved on this fly, and Paris Hilton is also like involved now. And it's out of hand. I'm dating SZA, sort of. I want to. I'm sure she's really honored to help. Um, and that's where, I have to start. That's cool. I get to start looking at leveling up in my life, and maybe one day I'll make that jump and I'll be able to go hang out with SZA in real life. But for right now, all I'm doing is like holding on to the things in my life that I know have been true without using AI. And that's where the government wanted to test me, and the aliens also wanted to test me. So I now own a few different planets, and a few different galaxies even. Um, I can travel through astral project through our waking life, and people are confused as to how they were able to get away with it, but also then like, what are you doing here, sort of a thing. Um, and so yeah, I'm pretty sure the government has clones of me. They sent one into space. Um, but yeah. That's a little bit of my paranormal uh, kind of lifestyle. 1135 sell your hell, 2/12/2025, and I've really unboxed this thing, unboxed a lot of trauma. I've been writing a lot of it down. Excuse me. And yeah, this stuff. My mom has a like uncle that she fucks, and like my sister fucks all my friends, and it's weird. Yeah, they all just like sleep around each other, and they're real sleazy. They're all from Lapeer, Michigan. There are a lot of easy, sleazy idiots out here that are just looking for a good time. There's nothing to do. They're boring people with guns. So like that is Michigan. They only care about cars. They only care about freaking nature, but not being in it for too long or uncomfortable in it. It has to be just perfect. So that's pure Michigan. That's a big part of what I'm currently juggling into the experience of people who are representing it or moving out of it or into it, and what the hell I was here in the first place doing, trying to get back on this business of like just being a thrifty hipster that sells mushrooms. And now before that it was just a DJ. I just wanted to be like one of the first like studio DJs available here that could help with music that was stolen by my cousins, my little cousins, and Adam Smith and Haley and Ward, and they're reel to reel with the freaking guys. And yeah, there's people at my school, freaking Ethan James, freaking John something, gosh darn, Emily Dahlquist, and freaking AJ Abelman, freaking lots of different people here getting thrown into the mix. Freaking what were we on? Don, Haley, Joel, Mike, Emma, yeah, flipping over to Kazik and Poland to Jake and Julian. Luckily, they're pretty far separated from it. But Andrew's in Tel Aviv. And, well, they're not that... Jake isn't as far separated as he would have liked to be. So, because there's this weird, like, push and pull between the Gaza Strip, what's happening in Tel Aviv, and the eviction of, like, Muslims and replacement with Islams and stuff like that, of American Judaism and stuff like that, and Abrahamic religions. They are opening up the floodgates to create this dichotomization, this compare contrast. It's not a dichotomy. It's this push and pull between up and between classism. It's classist fodder for creating humans that are supposed to be more evolved because they can use their imagination. They can articulate the right type of selective autism. It's a big push from the eugenics program in the 1930s, and my company's been disclosing it for the past several years. So now that we're here, we're able to kind of pull some of the things out in the open. There's a fairy bloodline in my Polish concept, and there's also this like leprechaun thing with this Atlantean Palladian stuff, because it gets into this Sufi like turf thing going on, or surf and turf, or whatever the hell is going on with the Moors and the frickin' New England and the Mediterranean, because I'm a Romani. I found out in a past life I had the job of carrying fire from village to village, creating inertia for the to keep things safe. In another life, I was tossed into a volcano as one of the first humans tossed into the Hawaiian volcanoes. And that's something that I found out on like 3.5 grams, an eighth of mushrooms. And my family, my Asian family, was astral projecting to me from beyond the grave. They told me when my grandparents were died, and they pretty much did. And now we're on to the next part, which is sort of why it was complicated. In about 2013, I started wizard flipping and taking psychedelics stacked on top of each other and going to music festivals. That day, I freaking ran into a John Smith at North Coast over here, who's also attached to this thing now. As my mom has also put them involved with the frats from Electric Forest, and so they also know some of the guys that I've been with, and some of the women that I'm juggling in and mixing in. So now there's this whole weird thing where my friends have like ganged up against me because they've all lied to each other, and it sounded right. It sounded good, and they bought it. And now they're kind of looking at it, and they're like, damn, this kid's freaking bright. He put it all together. You said he was dumb. And now everybody's kind of getting in trouble. There's rumors being started over here. And, well, some of them are true. But that's a big part of speculation, upwards or downwards. We have to speculate some things and create that inertia, that push-pull voltage. And so if that's what we're pulling out, is a bunch of negative experiences on people, creating torture chambers. Let's see, there's a few things. Yeah, they've been blackmailing me and blackmailing each other. There was a murder today, possibly at like 8 a.m. So that's two. No, click pow. Not a word of this till I get to my lawyer. Beeping. I had the granular synth going on. My mom gave Dalton Stodgel into the mix of like the back rooms that I have here, and like he gives us meth, I guess, or not me, but like my family, because he's a trucker. Let's see, my uncle's like weirdly, my dad's like talking to my uncle, and there's like it's got weird, guys. Yeah, addressing crossed boundaries, 757 210 2025. Drugs and sex, complaints on getting caught crossing common decency. I had an alien demon baby that I had to poop out in time before October 20th. It's a weird one, but poop magic, it starts getting silly. But I killed this thing with my inner light, and well, then I had to poop it out. So like I pooped it out, it was hard to poop out, but like it was supposed to be. And well, it may have stopped. It may have stopped some things from actually playing out because of the narcissistic delay and the witchcraft on top of it, and just the general curiosity because I don't know. My mom makes up weird stories, and like was thinking she's helping me get laid or something, some old country thing that she likes to replace her late brother Rusty with on me, and being like, "Oh, you're just like my Rusty brother," and it's like, no, no, no. And so like that's kind of where I keep getting Coraline and Button Eyes and the other mother and like a lot of weird stuff. So that's something that is kind of going on. And like yeah, Kat got her name changed by Stacia Buchanan, and like it's cool. They've been rubbing it. They've been just sliding stuff under the rug, but they've people have died. There's been mass shootings, wildfires. California wildfires are started by this case. The Hawaiian rehabilitation on the Leilani estates, all of these other things, burnt down Hawaiian islands, witchcraft, Viking blood, and chaos magic. A lot of sex magic because they just had an orgy last night. Was another part. Is they had a little bit of fun last night, and they were just kind of they're doing stuff on top of my life. And yeah. They're helping the cops. They're possibly like escorting cops and stuff like that. It sounds like my family kind of is letting this happen because I'm too goddamn pretty. And it sucks because I'm prettier than my sister, and like I didn't ask for any of this. And now that I'm in the Mean Girls Club, I guess I'm in the goddamn Mean Girls Club as a goddamn goddess now. And so like, dude, it is a freaking nightmare having to go through all of this. So I hope you guys enjoy these YouTubes because like this is a different season in my life. And if you knew me, you would understand how freaking bizarre this has been to find all of this stuff happening at my 34th birthday and never been told about any of my pilgrimage being co-opted or taken over or replaced with someone else, something else, money, sex, drugs, murder. It sounds like you guys got things taken care of, and all I need to do at this point, again, PARACONOMY Inc. is gonna cover the rest, because as soon as the IRS finds out if somebody lied about me being married, and the court is recognizing it that we're married, but I'm married to the wrong person and on purpose, and they're covering up evidence of off-duty detectives monitoring me vis-a-vis dark web, that it means that the Magna Carta has been breached over my righteous Christmas birthday. And anytime this happens, it creates a surplus in the governmental spending on how much they're allowed to give back. So even though I'll only make like, let's be hopeful, let's say I make a nice $500 million, I would only make that. They would make trillions of dollars because of everything that's happened. So that's what they're looking at spending the budget on. They spent $10 million on AI last year. This has helped people. This has helped them solve crimes before they happen. This is what they're studying here at the FBI down at the frickin' Capitol, and they're using the computers that my dad helped found and build and stuff like that, alongside of many of Michigan's great engineers and stuff. But these engineers are connected to Cassie, my old roommate, who was unwell, but that was staged and placed here by Kat Koshik and Sam frickin' Cockburn, or whatever the sideburns or whatever the fuck they're going by these days. They're all having a trans commune orgy without me. First off, it only would have existed because of me, because I helped get these people together so they had a safety net. But they're misusing it. They're using it for sex magic, for drug dealing and possession, and utilizing my destiny as their own company. So it's bizarre. These people pirated my life, and they don't care. They could care less. They're currently insulting me on it. They're saying, "Look at you." 11:48. People are disgruntled with me coming clean about this stuff because it caused Jimmy Baker to have to sell. He's got 6 buildings. He just gave me. He's got billions of buildings basically. He just gave me 6 new ones. So like, that's something we have to figure out. Is if that's a real deal and I have 6 new skyscrapers in Chicago and other cities and I need to go to them, but they're only accessible through the underground dream realm that you have to take LSD to get to, that you guys have been just feeding my family readily and not telling me about. Damn, dude. Yeah, my mom is a liar. My mom's a liar. And my family is never going to be the same. We are never going to recover. These people couldn't be more pleased. Um, in that sense, I think that novelty though of that rush is starting to fleet because people died. And they're starting to wake up. Yeah, somebody died this morning. Somebody important to me. And well, that's basically how the game is played. And they could just be speeding it up and trying to get another one in, and another one, and another one, and another one, and another one, and dude, nobody's safe. There's a populist control system of overload that they're trying to fix. They might end up killing more people than they actually deport, but they might draft a bunch of people too, and I might be on the one of that loose ends where they draft me, but to do it for witness protection. But who knows? The government could just human traffic me again. And we end up like slipping me into weird governmental positions and stuff like that. So yeah, I could be running the Supreme Court someday, and building jetpacks, all sorts of neat things. Um, yeah, studying UFOs with drones, like just building freaking jet set radio boots, and like, yeah, the whole globe is like basically holding me back from being able to be the thrifty, cool Hawaiian, and it's beating me down. They loved, and this is the part that they actually love, is seeing me at my wits end, and it turns them on. It weirdly, this type of anxiety that I'm currently even experiencing right now in my tummy is turning people on weirdly. And it makes me feel like really uncomfortable in different spots in my body. It's a fun part of my transition, but it's not a very cool part to be mistreated sexually and abused emotionally, because I can't get a moment alone to jerk off, not to overshare, but like I was doing sex work, I was doing a lot of anal, and like I'm not doing anything, and it's kind of making me stressed out now that they're cucking me. Excuse my language, but they're cucking me, and it's without any explanation, and they they're assuming they can just get it back whenever, and they just won one over me. They keep telling me that they rocked me. It's like weird. They're like, we rocked you. Oh, we freaking. They keep doing like sports lingo, some ugly gamer freaking toxic masculine BS, and like, it's weirdly co-opted by feminazis and like science that these women want to like drip into, and it's, dude, it is fucking a lot of fucked up shit up. But it brought in some new black world order. But yeah, yeah, black black world new order. Yeah, right. It did bring that in. We saw that at the halftime show with Kendrick Lamar, Loki, and Samuel L. Jackson. So they killed my girlfriend, and they just recently just killed another one potentially. And knock on wood, we'll pray. Dear God, grant me serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things that I can, and the strength to change the things, and the wisdom to know the difference. Amen. God bless. Praise all gods and goddesses that serve my greater goods. Godspeed. God bless. Lead with love, lead with love, dude. I don't know what people are going to take away from my shamanism. I think that people are always going to be tempted, and it just, the devil uses the people closest to you. So I guess I'm going to have to get away with murder here or something. The government kind of wants me to maybe murder some people as like a native, getting people off of his land or her land. They just want me to, they want Jesus to murder somebody because they think it's fucking cool. So they might have Christmas murder happening, you know, like just spreading plagues or something. I don't know. But it seems pretty convenient for the government to like kind of wedge around and be like, oh, hey, look, Jesus is causing the weather to change. Great job, Jesus. And, you know, it's putting people in different spots in society. So, excuse me, if I just became the bottom, they're deleting a lot of people who are like below me, in that sense. So, be careful out there, people. I don't think I'm gonna wrap it up quite yet. I'm kind of having fun here, but I think I'm gonna I'm gonna like switch gears and like make some food or something. It is 11:55 a.m. 2/12/2025, and you know, it just seems like a crazy way to have to kind of start the day, and you know what? We're just going to wrap things up for the day for a second. I might be back in a few hours, though, and maybe even just a little bit, and just kind of regather for a nice, short, simple podcast or something cool. I don't know. I got a lot on my mind, on my plate, about the Jesuits and the Anabaptists, trying to figure things out. So with the atheists, so like, and these guys and Hebrews and the freaking Satanists, so they're all figuring out things like Muppets right now. Hopefully they're like, watch the new South Park. Watch the new South Park.